Hello, everybody. It's April Fool's Day, but we're not going to fool you. Everything we're telling you is the truth to the best that we know it.
It is.
Mhm.
It is. We'll be truthful. We aren't gonna fool you, but you're gonna get good information today, especially from Nancy Jean, who is our teacher on the programming. Our
You know,
little
Val
friend.
suggested this, and Val's very spiritual and does works with a lot of things. And so we really kind of wanted to talk about crystals and getting attached to them and getting a strong feeling about them. And they're your friends and they're there to help and guide and protect you. And we're going to talk about natural crystals, which are the ones that tumble out of the ground and we tumble them or we polish them up or we treat them nicely so they don't change from us. And then we're going to talk about some man-made crystals and how you can work with them. And I have a couple examples of those. I thought I'd lost one and I found it this morning. I was so happy for
Good. That was meant to be.
And when I first did this, when I first did crystal grids, I was like, got to be an out of the ground stone.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yeah, like that. It has to look like that. And but then the teardrops that are in that was when I finally said, no, I can take a crystal that's been formed into a specific shape and work with it.
Oh my gosh, so gorgeous. So Nancy Jean created this for me for allowance. That is my
that's your vibration. I'll show you. I actually have 4 of them. I finished this last week. We may as well start my ad first.
Yeah, start your ad. If you want one of these, crystaldirections.com.
Right.
Go to crystaldirections.com and you can order yours. Because what has happened since I activated this after receiving it from Nancy Jean is like a huge amount of things happening.
And,
I can't even count it all. It's just like an avalanche of stuff coming
and everybody, and you can tell them you pick a blind card out of a stack and it sets up what you need. And it's always interesting because people go, oh, I didn't realize I needed that. I'm going to show you the ones I've been doing.
Yeah.
And these people are going to be like, you've been showing those for 3 days. Why aren't they?
That's beautiful. Yeah.
This is called perception.
Oh, I love that.
And what's interesting about it is everything's in 4s, except the center stone, which is a green calcite. There are 4 Ukanites. There's 4 yellow adventurines with 4 little pieces of azurite on them. And then there's 4 blue adventurines, and then there's 4 green adventurines. Because what perception is about is moving beyond our comfort zone to find the edges of what we need to perceive as real and take a good, hard, deep look at it.
I love that.
And and so perceptions, the number 4, when I teach my class in crystals, you'll get it. 4, if it's in the tarot, if it's in numerology, wherever it is, 4 is building a base. So this woman is really building a new base in her life.
Wow. I love that. I love that. And Nancy Jean, I notice you have some sample grids on your website. And
There's about 150 of them.
And they're magnificent. So you'll all want to go to crystaldirections.com to look at those. And I wanted to ask you about, how do you decide what background you're going to, not the color, but the grid pattern?
The grid pattern I adopt from the cards.
And so I noticed some are, the lines are a different style.
I used to use sacred geometry grids.
Okay. Yeah.
But I use my garden grid because my garden grid has every angle that's in any sacred.
I love the garden grid. Look at that, everyone.
And this is Alchemy. And Alchemy is a frequency that activates magical abilities and remembrance of the magic from which we all come.
Wow.
And helps us embrace it and bring it into our lives now. It takes us from ancient knowledge to the potential of using it to the real alchemy, to really using it.
And
And
Nancy Jean Janice saying my grid changed since she fired it up. Her life
right.
has changed ever since she fired it up last month. It's changed. Her grid is actually changed. And wow, has her life ever been changing since she fired it up?
Yeah, and this is honey calcite, which is one of my favorite calcite stones.
Yeah, I love that.
All around the edge. And these are agates from a creek. It's a riverbed in Australia. It's from the same riverbed that the silicates from opals seeped into the earth and made opals.
Yeah.
They're beautiful stones.
Beautiful.
This is euconite. And on top of and when I put two stones together like that, they're going to share power. Euconite is the most healing stone. It's the one you grab onto and you feel I'm safe and comfortable here. And it has the black moss agate on the top of it, which is I'm safe here because I'm dealing with the duality of myself, the black and the white. Then the middle stone is a rhodonite, and on top of it is a yellow aventurine. And yellow aventurines say, I want to go out and do stuff. And the rhodonite helps you ground you into your heart. And the last stone is the tiger's eye. And on top of it is green moss. And green moss is a crystal where you can look at it, you can almost see forests in this.
I have to say, when I look at that grid, Nancy Jean, I mean, that grid just speaks alchemy. You can just feel it. It's pretty amazing.
Well, it's her illustration of what alchemy is very good.
Yeah.
You see the two elements coming to the center. So
yeah. Exactly.
And that's from the sacred geometry.
Love that. What a beautiful grid. Oh my gosh. So beautiful.
And this one's simple, but it's absolutely this is compassion.
Oh, beautiful.
And compassion is our ability to stand by others without judgment, to be a divine mediator between heaven and earth, spirit and matter, so that we can all find the unconditional love that we should have.
Love that. Love that.
Yep.
That's just beautiful.
And we got one more. And then until I make the next one, which I actually have two that are going to have readings next week to do this.
That's magnificent.
This is two grids. It's remembrance and authority.
Ooh.
And she pulled authority first, and we realized it was pertinent to where she was. The authority is in here. The remembrance, and she will never have authority means it reminds us that true authority is powerful, directed, and real and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. She's had that in a past life. She didn't do so well for it, so she's working on it this time.
Wow, I just love, Nancy Jean, how the crystals are pointing down. It's almost like a dream catcher or a
it is. It's very made
kind of a
Native American.
Feathers of a headdress, and look at that. Yeah, that is just so powerful and beautiful.
And these are quartz points that come out of Brazil. And for a while, I couldn't get them. They're back now. You can get them. But when the mines closed in Brazil, we lost a lot. This is pyrite that other metals have adhered to naturally. That's not done by people. That's done by that. And it's got a beautiful piece of lepidolite in the middle of it. And the frequency of resemblance supports our memories of everything that we've gone through. This soul has gone through in body form, providing us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully through this life. So if she grabs her power and authority, which she has all the makings for doing, that little teardrop stone, that's quartz from the Himalayas, and it was manufactured into teardrops in the Himalayas.
Ooh.
And this is a very powerful grid. And then these are azurites around the edge, pulling the communication energy in. So those
feel the throat chakra kind of activating on the.
You do. That will happen with that one.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. What else? One more ad, and this isn't for me. This is really
Barbara Berkman says, that's my grid.
Yeah, that is her
Can't
grid.
wait to get it.
She's the one who's writing me emails. Where is my grid? Is it in the
I
post?
mean, we all want it really fast, but Nancy Jean has to let it,
I have to let the things cure. If they don't really,
have
really
to
dry,
yes,
the stones can actually fall off.
yes,
I mean, that doesn't happen often. But this is not a grid I made. This is a book Jeffrey made. And for those of you who know, everybody says, oh, go do your shadow work. And you're sitting at home going, what the hell's my shadow work? And I don't want to go pay $400 to go spend a weekend somewhere in a hotel ballroom hearing all about it. So Jeffrey put together this book, and it's 39 pages of questions, and you can use tarot or oracle cards, depending on what you have. You could use a deck of playing cards if you were willing to concentrate on what they're saying. But what shadow trait do I project on to others? And the 1 is the trait, 2 is why I see it, and this is how do I own it. And a lot of times you'll find reverse cards in that one because we don't. This is a limiting belief that is holding me back, the belief, the origin, and how to shift it. And then he goes to having 4 cards. Inner child healing. What's my wounded inner child? How does it still affect me? How can I nurture it to help it? And how can I integrate in healing? Then you go to obviously, this is a well thought out presentation.
It really is. And it's just beautiful.
I know. And this is what do I avoid? Boy, is that one for me. 1 is why, 2 is the fear behind it, 3 is what's holding me back. And no, this is what I avoid. And that's the whole question. It's 1 is what I avoid. Why do I avoid it? What's the fear behind it? What's holding me back? And how do I move forward? And I wouldn't do 3 or 4 of these pages a day. I think I'd be, I like this one. How my parents' shadow shaped me. You've never wanted to look at that. But the thing is, also in here, there are just blank pages where you can write notes.
Oh, that's just wonderful.
So you can keep it all together. You can pull it out. You can work with it. You can do one and say, boy, that was enough.
What a beautiful book. And really, I think that is one of the most powerful ways to work with your shadow self is to have it all in one place and you're just working through it piece by piece.
And this is how you can contact Jeffrey about the books. Yeah. If you go to www.ripecolor, and in case you guys are wondering, that's not his last name. No, he was a scarf and silk painting artist before. So that's where Ripe Color came from. And he just never, doing the sensible thing, didn't create another website. So he had 6 of them he had to take care of.
Yeah.
Unlike some of us. And but you can go to Jeffrey, and you missed it if you didn't. My tarot classes start in, I keep saying this is the end of the ads, but that's a never ending story. Tarot classes starting 4/16 Wednesday in the evening and 4/19 Saturday in the afternoon. And if you had signed up by yesterday, you could have gotten one of Jeffrey's guidebooks free.
Wow.
But no longer. I was talking to him last night, and he said, you're going to be on tomorrow? Well, tell them they missed it. And Val will find out all about this when you do. 9 candles returning April 24th through May 2nd. And up until last night, I had no idea. They just said, you're doing it. And they gave me the dates. And it ends up, it's going to be every man for himself. It's always been, we're going to do blue, and we're going to talk about community. We're going to do pink. We're going to talk about, this is, you bind the candles, you figure out what you need to work with, which is perfect to go along with Jeffrey's book. What do I need to really work on? And you can have 9 candles where you're meditating with other people to all raise our vibrations. And so you can pick the candles of your choice. You don't have to go out. I swear, the first time I did this comes from a tradition of Japanese culture called 9 red candles. And the first time I did it, it was in December when I just started my channel. And a woman wrote me an email, and she said, oh my God, you should have given us more warning. When you started, I had to run around my house and I found 9 red candles. And I was like, where's this woman living? Michael's? Um, but and I admire her, and she shows up every time we do the candles. And then, we've had red candles, we've had green candles, we've had blue candles, we've had yellow candles for energy. We've had the rainbow for kind of whatever one you wanted to be. That all the chakras, opening up all the chakras. Well, this time it can be tall, it can be short, they can be votive candles, they can be. As a matter of fact, they told me if someone really, because space can be a thing, if you light a candle and you just light it every night at the time we're on, meditate to it and blow it out, and you do that 9 times, that's 9 candles.
Good to know that.
So,
I love that. We got Dr. Gail walking with Moon here.
yeah,
Dr.
she'll be doing 9 red candles.
Hi, Dr. Gail.
I already told you can't escape.
I think that's great. That's great. That sounds very powerful. Very powerful. So, yeah.
Ness's problem got solved.
Yeah, I was going to highlight that as well. That's fantastic.
I don't do well. You can't highlight from your end, and it's me.
No, I can't, unfortunately, because I'm not a co-host. But I think that's fantastic, Ness. Glad to hear that. So everyone, Nancy Jean told her, about thyroid issues and predicted it would turn around, and it did.
Good.
Thank you, Nancy Jean. You have the gift. Yeah, Nancy Jean is a powerful being here. We're lucky to have her on Earth right now.
I have a lot of sympathy for thyroid problems. I had thyroid problems, and my doctor did everything she could think, and she said, I don't know. She said, what's Norma say? Norma was my herbalist that lived in Midlothian on a farm growing her own herbs and fixing it. And I said, I haven't talked to her. She said, well, go down and tell her, because she said, honey, we got nothing up here. So I drove to Midlothian, which is about an hour, 45 minutes south of Dallas.
Wow. And
I went to visit her. She was just such a delightful lady to me. And she went, she said, you need white milk thistle. And it was news to me. I didn't even know white milk had a thistle. And so
they have tea with that.
Yeah. And she said, take it for a month and then go to your doctor and have them look at all the signs you're showing that your thyroid's screwed up. So I did it, and I went in and I told the doctor, I'm here for the checkup. I've been doing what Norma told me. And so she said, okay. And she checked me over and said, damn. It was the weirdest thing. One of my irises was bigger than the other.
Oh.
And my doctor had never seen that before. So she went up, and she worked in a large practice attached to a large hospital. She ran up and down the hall. No one had ever seen, unless it was a traumatic head injury. I mean, all the stuff they'd already ruled out. Yeah. So she said, well, damn, keep taking it, and then she got the physician desk reference, that giant fat book. And she looked, and on the last page of symptoms of a low thyroid was, it can cause dilation, uneven dilation.
Oh, and my God.
She said, nobody ever reads this page. No, so she was telling all of her people. And so when I went to have my knees replaced, and she knew that was going to throw real stress on my whole system, she said, bring me the pills you take, and I will bottle them in a way that they have to give them to you.
Oh.
And so she hand carried it up to the nurse's station when I was finally holding food again.
Oh.
She said, she used to have 2 of these a day. And the nurses were like, yes, doctor, yada. And
I mean, because they are really weird about how, you take medication at home and then you go to the hospital. They don't want any of it there.
No. And they asked them to come in through the doctor, and her name and her business card and everything was on them. And the nurses, they put it in my tray and assured her I'd get it twice a day. And I did. The whole time I was there, I got it twice a day. But
well, you have a good doctor.
Well, yeah, I always have. I don't stay with them if they don't behave. So the nurses came running down the hall and said, how did you get them to put milk thistle? And I said, because that's what keeps me together.
Yeah.
I'm not an herbalist, and I know that Norma had to be in the room with you, and she touched your hands like this. She put her hand over your hand like this. She'd scan your body. That woman's, I had a tooth removed from the back of my mouth. And they took it out because they realized there's no tooth behind it.
Mhm.
And my teeth were already crowded back there. So I said, this will help it. Well, there was a tooth behind it. So when she did the first time she grabbed my hand, she goes, why are you teething?
That's my God. Proof that what a great
I'm 60.
what a great reader, a body scanner.
I'm 60 plus years old, and my daughter who was with me goes, you're teething? You know? What?
I love that. Because everyone, there are buds that sit, like you've got your wisdom teeth, and then there are buds that sit under or beside that. If you have no space for that, that would be like teething.
Well, no, they x-rayed my jaws. First of all, they thought I didn't have any wisdom teeth. And then they x-rayed and they found one, and they actually extracted it because it was causing problems. Because this is going to shock everyone who's ever watched my show.
Oh,
Every dentist has always told me I have a very small mouth.
Oh,
you would never know it.
Nancy Jean can communicate well. Everyone.
She gets every inch out of that mouth. I mean,
she gets every square inch. There's a lot of power coming out of that mouth. A lot of information.
Well, okay. So Ness, I'm so glad that happened for you.
Yeah.
And Oil Painter, undoubtedly my grid was not about spelling. You're like me. I'm like 1 out of 5 letters. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they have spell correct. But yeah, Oil Painter has had a pretty grid. She's good.
Yeah, Diana. Awesome.
And here's a book. I don't know who this is. I'll take your word on it. It's a written book on crystals, and I've been studying for quite a while. Eye openers, both of them. He covered most of the questions that I would have asked here. Yeah.
Oh.
And there are several really good books on crystals, and that's how I started. I saw a crystal grid in Colorado, and I said, how does it work? And then I built one for myself. After I'd studied crystals for about 5 months, I built one for myself, and I put friends on it. It was just a fun crystal for new prosperity. And it was, I didn't have cards. I do sacred geometry because I understood that. The 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I fired it up. And the next day I opened up my emails, and there was a note from Dorothy Morgan, who I did not know at the time. And I had written her a question about a show she'd done, astrology. And she said, I go through, as part of my marketing, this is what she used to do. She doesn't do it anymore. This was 5 years ago, guys. Mm-hmm. She said, I pick a new name that's hit my email list, and I offer them because they've come to see me. And so I said, well, great. So, and we talked about it, and I had studied astrology, so I didn't need a basic chart. So she did a progress chart, and we met. This was so long ago that Zoom wasn't even here yet. We did it on the phone, and she read for me, and I said, I know how astrologers work, so you keep a diary of when she does stuff all day. They do this. And I said, what time did you pull my name from your email list? She pulled it an hour after I had fired up my grid.
Thus, you can definitely see the activity once you fire your grid up. Folks.
And okay, but that was for me personally. But I had a friend down there, and she'd been looking for work. She was getting down to the noogies on this. She'd been looking for work for 3 months. And she called me up that same day, the day after I'd done it. She says, are you still doing that grid thing? I said, you know me, I'm going to do that thing. Yeah, I'm going to do it. And she said, am I on it? And I said, yeah, you're on it. And I said, for you to get new prosperity come in your life. That day she got 2 job offers, one to start the next day and one to start in a week.
Wow. I mean, that's just...
You just kind of go, wow.
The unbelievable synchronicities that happen after you fire your grid up is just astronomical. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, in that same line, we were talking about, Nancy Jean and I, about programming things,
Mhm.
programming other things you
Right.
have, like your jewelry or your stones, because
Mhm.
these are
They're
things
on
you
your own.
wear. You have them on your body. Why not
They're
work
like
with
little
it?
antennas.
Yes, little antennas. And so, like, I got this ring
Mhm.
from my husband for a birthday, and
Mhm.
these earrings at a different time, but they go so well
Perfect.
with it. And I thought,
Beautiful.
I'm going to program them. I'm going to ask them to work with me on particular things.
Or you can
Because
just program them for protection.
yeah, I mean, whatever you want to activate it for, to give it an intention for, to work with you, and what those steps are to do this. What is the process of getting this accomplished?
Well, first of all, you
You
need
know,
to cleanse
yeah,
them.
cleanse them.
Cleanse them. And I used to work in a vintage store,
Yeah,
and Gretchen would get a whole bunch of jewelry in, and she'd bring it over and said, "What do we need to do?"
yeah.
And I said, "Where'd this come from?" And they said, "Oh, they said their grandma died." I said, "Their grandma didn't die. They stole this, but
Oh,
we can't prove it." So she, and she'd already bought it. And I
yeah.
said, "We got to really cleanse this." But when you're going to, it's like when I've given you the things about clearing stones before.
Mhm,
Um, Smoke, if you can tolerate it. Incense is
mhm.
great. Water, and you think, "Oh, I'll put it in water." And so lots of shows will say use water. You have to know the Mohs factor, how hard the crystal is.
Mhm.
There are some crystals and they look really hard.
Yeah.
Selenite looks hard. You stick selenite in water, you find out how unhard it isn't.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, and so the safest things to do are to clap. Just
Mhm,
clap. You'll
mhm.
see us do that. You'll see us clap or tap our cards.
Yeah, because it really, it's
It disperses the energy, right?
yeah,
And then you can, and if it comes to it, you can bury it in dry sand,
yeah.
and ask the sand to absorb it. If you still have kind of odd feelings about it, and the issue always comes up about real stones, and stones that are hard are real, guys, even if they're made by man. But like this is a man-made stone. This is made by a woman in England.
Mhm.
She makes, I don't know if she's still doing it. This is like 6 years old. That's the sigil of Haniel, which is my archangel.
Love that. So pretty.
And she does sigils for all the archangels.
Mhm,
And that's a man-made stone. But when I've been wearing that out, if I've been in a particularly difficult reading session or
mm.
out for a long time or not feeling well, I'll bring that back and I will expose it. I don't mind using smoke. And I also have, this is my favorite. This is a spray bottle of
Nice.
Palo
Yeah.
Santo
Oh, right.
and
White.
white sage. You can order it on. It's from Mystic Angel. It works great. You can use this. It's like Raid for bad things.
Yeah, great. I like that description. I think that's
It
fantastic, and
makes
I
the
have to
cats
get
clear
some.
out when you're up
Yeah.
to no good. And so those are different things you can try. And then, so now what do I do? Um, you you think about what you want it to do. I always just ask my stones to protect me because
Mhm.
they're going to know when it's coming towards me before I do.
And I like to set it to, like, I want to program it to speak my truth, or I want to program it for confidence, or I want to program it for some specific thing that I'm doing, some project that I want
Mhm.
help with, that I want the doors open for. Um, you know, anything that encourages that kind of communication and
Right.
activation for whatever I'm doing. So, because you have a lot different pieces of jewelry, you have a lot of opportunities to
Mhm.
assign tasks to, all of them.
And always treat your jewelry with respect.
Yeah.
This poor little chain on my necklace needs a good cleaning,
Yeah.
which I just noticed it when I was taking it down. I don't wear my jewelry as much as I used to.
Well, I mean, you can put it in your pocket. You can have it in your bra, whatever, if you wear a bra.
Yes, dear. You apparently have not seen my. I make every Victorian woman think, "Oh my God, how does she winch it in like that?"
I mean, when we get to this age, there is that factor of.
Well, that's the mama pocket. Yes, I have a mama pocket.
So you're programming it. What would you say, Nancy Jean, for an example? If you were taking something like this ring,
Okay.
what would you, and you wanted to make an intention, you wanted to set an intention within it to align you with your highest divine plan.
Right. I'd use communication since it's blue. And it's going to deal with, or it can also, that can be third eye, that color that you've got right there, and just direct it to bring the energy into your body most proficiently.
Oh, there you
go. There's a reader that I read with occasionally, and she has a shungite bracelet, and we'll start talking about stuff, and I'll see her reach down and get the shungite bracelet and wrap it around it, clamp it on, because she feels that's kind of energy that's out there.
That's good. So, I mean, you wouldn't say anything like, I mean, to bring you the highest vibration or the highest connections, whatever.
You can.
I mean,
you can
get it specific.
You can ask us. You can say, "I want Uncle George to talk to me through this ring," if that's what you want.
Okay, so that's how. But whatever comes to you when you're programming something, however you're sitting down and thinking about what you want it to accomplish, to assist you in accomplishing, because you have to also be doing X, Y, and Z to bring forward what it is. It's not like it's going to go to the refrigerator and bring you milk. You have to.
Well, if your rings start doing that, please let me know.
I know, because I want one too. But so then. Would you say, do you do any visualization or any energetic transmission between you?
Y'all work too hard. Y'all work too hard. You just ask the universe and it delivers.
Well, basically, that's all I did when I programmed this. And I mean, to me, it's like think of it as somebody who's innocent and has a pure heart, like the Fool in the tarot, and you're just saying to it, you know, you're setting your intention, you're asking it to assist you with X, Y, and Z. And pretty much that's all I did. Because you could make it big. I'm going to seal, shoot it with my energy, seal it up, do all this stuff.
Yeah, and I think you need to. I always say let the good times flow. Frequencies flow both directions. And just be aware of, and don't get overly tired and don't burn your energy out. But you could program, theoretically, I guess you could program things to do anything, but like you've been through the grid process, you pull the grid blind. Then at the time I match it with the stones I feel are most appropriate with the energy I have from the notes I take at that session. But once you have a grid, it's yours, and people say, they'll write me, can I change the intention on my grid? Of course you can. It's your grid. It's like a little power cell that's connected to your energies. And that's what jewelry can be for you. And jewelry doesn't have to have been dug out of the ground. It can be the man-made crystals. I had a long debate in my heart of hearts. About earthbound crystals that were cut to be certain things. Like you saw the teardrop ones that were in perception. And the teardrop ones you have in yours. But they express how I want the energy to flow. And so I got over myself real fast about that.
And I got over myself like a few years ago about man-made or whatever. To me, it doesn't matter, because all things have consciousness. And so they're going to work with you as a partner if you're attracted to that and you have an affinity to it. And Mhm.
What's this? It's called.
So
Wisdom.
basically, you could program anything. We're talking
Yeah,
about
you could prove
program
if
your pen to
right.
write the best book or the most proficient, whatever. Program your pen.
Or from
When
your
you're
life
stirring
experience.
your coffee or tea in the morning, ask for all the highest vibration of light and love to come in, or whatever you want to
Mhm.
accomplish that day, assistance for all of that. Whatever you're doing, if you put an intention into it, you
Mhm.
are creating that energy. You are calling it forth. Oh,
These
I
are
love
called
that word.
bismuths,
Yeah.
and they're like on quartz, and then they do something electroplate them somehow. I don't know. I've seen the machine they use. I don't understand how it works, but they make absolutely fascinating things. And if that would be good for you to have around you on a day in day out basis to remind you, then do it. And there's a lot of
Mhm.
goldstone is one. It's glass, but it's got little glitteries in it, and it gives a kind of warmth.
Yeah, it's funny how if you see something and it evokes a feeling in you or you're attracted
Mhm.
to it,
Go for it.
okay, you got something going there. So it doesn't matter if it's man-made or other. It if it attracts you and it has light for you, you can
And
work with
these are dyed crystals.
it.
They're kind of
Oh,
it gives you a color that we don't normally have.
yeah.
And on my desk every day, I have the Ukrainian flag, and I have the blue,
Oh,
and I have the yellow, and I have 6 of them here. And they just remind me every day when I sit down to start my computer.
yeah.
I remember the people in Ukraine who are trapped in a war,
Yes.
and that it's going to go. This is a picture of goldstone. There's actually natural crystals that look like this,
Mhm.
that look like that,
Oh, beautiful.
but they're hematite, which is a very
Yeah.
dark.
And I love hematite. I'm attracted to hematite.
Yeah, it's because very grounding stone.
Yeah,
And then
very grounding.
you can get opalite, which if I can get
Oh,
it,
there's
and opal has to be the easiest stone in the world to create, because we know it makes it. It's just silica.
and
And then
oh, go ahead, Nancy Jean.
there's aurora quartz,
Yeah.
and you can have aurora quartz, apple aurora quartz, which is made with nickel, uh, champagne ore quartz, which has gold iridium. Anyway, there's a whole list, and if that is the color you feel you need to heal.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say, though, Maureen is saying hi to all. I loved your tarot
Mhm.
class, Nancy Jean, and all the great crystal information today. Blessings. So
Yes.
take Nancy Jean's tarot class if you haven't.
Yeah, and it's going to be. I said it already, right? It
Yeah.
starts on the 16th. Go to my website, www.crystaldirections.com, and you can. How weird! I don't have my own website on my banners. Well, that's cute.
Nancy Jean's website is crystaldirections.com.
Mm-hmm.
So
Just like under the donate button, it says Crystal Directions, but don't do PayPal or Venmo. It won't do you any good. You go to crystaldirections.com.
yeah.
There's a whole description of grids and readings and all that good stuff.
Rose Blue's dad is coming home from the hospital. What stones should she take?
Place in the corners of the room. Rose, Rose, contact me privately. I'll let you know,
There you
because
go.
I need to know what's wrong with Dad.
Yeah. I think he just fell. He got a spill.
Well, if he's fallen and he's broken bones, good strong quartz,
Good
milky quartz,
reports.
milky quartz.
Okay. That's awesome. Awesome. So so no matter what you're programming, whether it's a pen or I mean, basically, what do you think about if you get cards, if you get your tarot or oracle? What it, if you program them, well, actually you do in a way, because you're taking them in to say you're opening them up to receive the highest vibration of truth and light, however you do that in your practice. So
when you get a deck of cards, the first thing you ought to do is open them up and make sure they're all there. Because believe it or not, one time I got a deck and I kept playing with them, I thought, I haven't seen that card. And when I counted them out, it was missing. It was just missing the day I got the deck.
Can you imagine?
Well, no. Actually, so first thing is, and then if you count them all and look at them all, then you've kind of begun your connection with them. There's a reader called Una. She's out of Chicago. She has a medical deck, and she took a regular tarot deck and decided that wands were bones, and other suits were soft tissue, and others were the nervous, pentacles were the nervous. Anyway, I read her thing on how to do it. She programmed them so she can use that deck for medical.
And that's a beautiful example, a better example of what I was trying to understand is you can actually program your cards. Well, design your own deck too. I mean, basically, if you want, for all those specific things, they can mean what you need them to mean for whatever purpose.
Yeah, and this was like 3 years ago when I was really sitting around during COVID doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I tried, and I could never for the life of me remember which one was supposed to be which. So I really didn't want to tell someone to go get brain surgery if the cards were screaming, it's their big toe.
Yeah, that would be a little.
What can I say? But, you know, anything can be programmed. But with crystals, they already have the crystalline energy. The difference between a crystal, a stone, and a sedimentary rock.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Crystals are and metamorphic rocks are where crystals kind of get scrunched together with other stones. But a crystal and stone, a stone that's like quartz or diamonds or those things, they have a set molecular, it's crystal.
Molecular structure? Or
yeah, it's like, well, their term for it is crystalline structure. Oh. So they handle information in a more orderly pattern. So the harder the stone and the cleaner it looks to you, the cleaner you feel it, means the energy is going to flow through much more easily.
So what do you use the agates for? What do you use those denser?
Because they're like your whole body.
Oh, okay.
They're like everything sort of mushed together.
Yeah.
And you just feel with agates and stones that are metamorphic.
Yeah.
I feel like that you just use your instincts about what, and a lot of it has to do with color. It's like,
you know, I am so attracted to agates. I'm like the agate queen.
Yes. Well, it's because you like things from all sorts of places. I think there's some agates I have that are, well, you saw the ring of agates that's from the Muakai cream, the Muka stream in Australia. I mean, it's beautiful stuff that's going on there. Yeah. And 85 to 90% of the crystals that are on the earth are quartz. Amethyst is a quartz. Yeah. Citrine is a quartz. All it means is what other minerals got mixed in with them when they were getting made.
Oh, that's fascinating. So, but I have to say, I'm attracted to all kinds of rocks and crystals. So I just love them all. I love them so much. I have hundreds of crystals all over the place. So I think I was wondering, you know, what would happen if I sat down and programmed. I have a whole entire jar, really it's a vase for flowers, and I filled it with quartz crystals. And it's like this big, filled with crystals. And I thought, what if I programmed that whole big thing as a group or something?
You could do it. And you could, allow the water to flow, the energy that's flowing around you easily. And Patricia Hernandez says, okay. Hello, Nancyville. I have 7-inch Lemurian wand that fell and broke in 3. So is it best to reprogram? We now sit on or around selenite. Anything else I need to know about breaking? Don't drop your wands. Don't live in a house like I do that has all tile floors. Anything gets through, it's gone.
Yes.
Yeah. You can actually reunite those pieces of stone together if you get some of the bonding glue that's meant to work with crystals. Like I join the 2 stones in the middle. The bonding glue that I use, the epoxy I use, is meant to unify them at that point.
That's a really good tip, because you definitely can do that. And, I haven't done that.
But if it's not going to work,
I didn't know about it, but
if it's not going to work, you'll feel it. Well, first of all, it won't stay together. It'll just keep falling apart. Yeah. And maybe it wants to be in 3 pieces. Maybe
that's the other thing. There is always now it's got 3 individual jobs it can do for you, splitting off in different whatever you want. So, I mean, you have to, sometimes I take it and you kind of have to feel into it that it was meant to occur to, do different jobs. I don't know. It's up to you to look at that and feel into it. But also the idea that you can glue them back together is phenomenal. I love that.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, because I hadn't considered that.
Well, it wouldn't be my first thought either. And
but I mean, that's great that you can.
We can do it. I mean, you can do anything.
And here's that's it. That right in a nutshell. This show is about you can do anything that comes into your awareness to utilize with your crystal partners or jewelry or anything that you've got, even this metal ankh. You can program it and it can work for you. Why not? You're wearing it. Why not have it work? Why not give it a job to do and have it work with you? So that's what I kind of started looking at. Everything that I touch, everything that I wear, why not? I mean, you're a powerful being. Why not use your, intention to
that there's vibrations. You'll get vibrations off things. And I've always been happier in that top than that top. Why?
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe the color.
So true.
Maybe the one fits either too tight or too loose. That's the 2 choices I have in my wardrobe.
Yeah.
We got this. What stone is good?
Mine is it scratchy on my paper thin skin? Or is it soft?
I must have the skin of an elephant, although I did change a watch band yesterday, because I had a metal one and the old one, I'd had it for a while. Yeah. And I loved it because you just fold it over and it was magnetic.
Oh, that's nice.
But so it always fit my wrist.
Yeah.
When I was losing weight, I dropped 2 watch band sizes.
Oh my God.
When I went from 300 plus to where I am now. For creativity, why do you want to be creative? Confidence, Tiger's Eye gives you the confidence to move on. Citrine gives you abundance. It'll pull in the resources you need to be creative. Sodalite helps clear your mind and say, do this one. And then Moonstone, that's a dream stone. That's the one that just says, what's coming from outer space? Red jasper wakes you up.
Like I love jasper.
Yeah, you can't see it, but behind me.
I love sodalite too, though. I do.
I have a huge red jasper globe. And everybody goes, that stand you have on is so incredible. It came from the thrift store. It's some car part, and the thing fit on the top of it. But I have this giant, and it's heavy. The thing weighs about 10 pounds. You would not want that jasper in your bedroom.
Oh, good to know.
Unless you want to be up all night. And carnelian It's for passion and things that have to do with the heart.
Yeah, and
So,
I have carnelian in my entryway. I kind of have it like a
mhm.
table
Oh,
of the
that's
goodies
lovely.
there. Yeah.
That's the difference between you and I. I have a big giant piece of tourmaline saying "Stay the f out."
Mm. I love tourmaline. That is just so gorgeous.
And this is a gorgeous piece because you can see it. You can see how it was in the vent.
Yeah,
You can see all of them.
that's beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh, Patricia's going to try it. Thank you for the tip about gluing it. I'll check with the crystals. And you got to get back to us, Patricia, and said they may have been triplets that were just tired of each other, you know.
Well, you'll know when they go,
Mhm.
you don't want to stick back together.
Oh, Dana, it's what I use is a crystal epoxy, and you'd think I'd know because I had the tube out earlier. You can get big. This is a giant tube, and you know I get no money for doing these. B7000, but do
7,000.
use this in extremely well ventilated room, or if you're in a place where it's not well ventilated, get a rebreather because I made myself so sick I was in bed for a week
Oh
from
my
from
gosh.
the off gassing. Mhm.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
You kind of have to, and that was like when I was painting and doing things like that, and the things that I would spray on to finish my paint. Do it outside. Let your painting
well,
sit
the first
outside.
person who built my first set of acrylic eggs,
Yeah.
she was killing
Oh my
herself.
gosh.
And a friend of hers even got her a machine to clear the garage she was working. I
Yeah.
said, you can't work in that garage. You have to find, well, I can't find, you know, a place that's going to work. And she ended up, her daughter went down and found her mother was virtually having a heart attack, dragged her to the hospital. And then her kids went down to finish the next round of eggs and ruined them all.
Yeah, there you go. You really have to be careful with those fumes
Mm-hmm.
are, can be deadly for sure. And you want to work in well ventilated
Yeah,
area.
I mean, there's one woman who was intrigued totally by the eggs, but then when she found out they were suspended in plastic, she wouldn't even touch them. When they got delivered to her office, she had her secretary open it. She said, no, no, send it back.
Huh?
I can't touch it. It's plastic. Well, okay. I mean, what did you think it was in? Do you think I drill? You know, some people
I'm
amaze me.
like, so, you know, here's what for people who can't think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is I mean, when you're so literal with your mind and you're trapped in your own intellect and you think it needs to be, no, nothing needs to be a certain way. You can still access everything, no matter what. Nothing is beyond your ability to utilize.
Work it.
And so that would be just putting roadblocks in front of you to
Right.
think, yeah.
Rose blue. You need small pieces to place because of transportation.
Oh,
I don't know how often I need to say this, but apparently I haven't said it often enough. There is no size does not matter in crystals. So when you see someone who has some giant amethyst geode, all they're doing is over energizing themselves. That's not any more powerful than the smallest amethyst point I had in the grid I made. I mean, size does not matter with crystals.
no.
A little goes a long way. What it really matters is more the sacred geometry of it. Are you standing for one? Are you trying to create a coalition between two? Are you trying to create the communication and the stability of a three? Are you creating a base? Are you creating a four?
Mm-hmm.
Are you seeking to bring in change? I have very few grids that have fives in them because it really, and Jana got one. It means change, and five is a big number change. Yeah. 6 is domestic harmony. 7 is a spiritual growth and help. 8 is money and power. Mm-hmm. But you need to be really careful about putting money and power in a crystalline form, mm-hmm. because it can corrupt absolutely as well as
and I can imagine that because here's the thing. when you're using that as a foundation or base of something, I mean, you in your life, that is a man-made concept, that money, that kind of thing. Let's put it that way. And when you focus on the end result of what you are trying to accomplish, hopefully it's grounded in the metaphysical or grounded in the higher aspects of what you want to bring forward. Not, oh, give me a big house, give me a big car, but rather what you're here to accomplish in the universe.
This is a grid called transition.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That
And
is so powerful.
I've actually had a lot of people get this one, especially during COVID. And what it's about is the grids breaking apart.
It looks like transcendence because you've got the below, you've got the above. As above, so below.
It's spinning itself apart to form a new.
It really is, and it's really so universal. It's the multiverse kind of thing, and they're in the center. That
and those are tourmalines. Those are little teeny tiny tourmalines.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That just spells power.
Yeah, that one.
Power, not in a bad, not in a not in a power versus force kind of way, but but your soft intention of whatever it is you're here to do, and that connection with that is that power, the power of your knowing who you are, the power of moving through your life in a grounded and connected way, that we are all one, that you are all that is. You are all that is. And so that way, that
came out when she was singing about it. Apparently, talking about gluing them together, one of them spoke to her and said, "No, carry me." And they're going to work on the power of 3, which involves 3, 6, and 9 energies. So that's very good. I wish all the problems people ever asked me about were that easy to solve.
You know, I go with the Tao, the flow. If they broke apart, flow with them, baby, because there they are for you. You got 3 instead of just 1. So
right,
I look at it as the glass half full. It came, that is what's meant to be now. It's like adjusting to your life and your energy coming in. So now utilize it in that way.
Well, Val, what else do you have happening in your life other than coming out?
Yeah, well, Allie or Alice of Heart and Soul Connected and I are having a class, a mediumship class.
Oh, cool.
You can still join if you go to dragonflycrystals.store, not .com, .store. You can sign up for that class.
And is that star or store?
Store, STORE.
Okay, I
store.
This is her
store,
thing.
like a grocery store. Yes, dragonflycrystals.store. And you can sign up, go to book online, and you can sign up for that class. And that class starts this Saturday.
Oh.
So you can still, it's three classes, psychic mediumship. And I think you'll all enjoy it. It's a really fun class, and it's great to expand your even if you think you don't or think you can't, yes, you can. You already do. So come on board.
Yeah, it's like I went to a weekend thing with Many Lives, Many Mastered Weiss.
Yes. Oh, yeah, Brian Weiss.
And he did a thing, and I never thought I could do psychometry. I don't think I wanted to know I could do psychometry. But anyway, I took this woman's ring, and she took my piece of jewelry. And poor lady, she saw when I almost died when I was an infant.
Oh, wow.
Which is something I was working through at the time. Because it was engineered, but it wasn't engineered. It's one of those accidents adults let happen to kids, and so they end up hurt.
Yes.
But one of my siblings came and tipped me over, and it didn't work. And it was never tried again. But the woman saw it because I was in the middle of working all that through, and that's what she saw.
Oh.
And she said, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe." I said, "Drop the object." And she talked to me afterwards, and she said, "That was terrifying," but she said, "You knew about it, so that didn't scare me so much." I thought, what if she doesn't know about this?
Yeah.
And what I did for her was I drew a store she wanted to own, and it was a symbol that as a child she had drawn.
Ooh,
And
you're giving me the chills.
so, yeah. So, I mean, you can find out. You can do all sorts of things. Now, may I say, y'all know I live like a hermit in my house. I don't touch anything. I'm going to do a live reading, though, on Sunday, week from Sunday, for a guy I met at a real life for real party.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I don't know about doing it on Zoom. And I said, well, we can meet here. And so we're going to go meet there. But
Well, now we want to see it because you told us about it.
no, I'm not going to do psychometry. I'm going to read his cards. But and that kind of came up. And
that's cool. Very cool.
So,
it's pretty interesting, the people you meet and who you end up doing readings for and connecting with and all of that. It's all meant to be.
That's true.
And sometimes
this show was meant to be. We're at an hour.
Okay, so
we're going to cut it off. And if you live in a state where you can vote, go vote. Today's election day. If you haven't voted, don't tell me about how bad it is. You don't vote. I don't want to hear it. And everybody else, take care. And thank you, Val, so much. This was delightful.
Thank you, Nancy Jean. It was a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.